Jirachi, most common variants in the lead slot are special attacking Akabari Stealth Rock sets, occasionally a Body Slam Ironhead Fire Puncher, more often with leftovers. Dragonite, most common mixed or choice band. We see the rocks, so we know feasibly it could still be the super old Choice Scarf Stealth Rock set, but it's unlikely, as Dragonite misses Fire Blast, so we know it's almost surely mix. A rare Dragon Dance set in the lead slot would not be running Fire Blast 9 times out of 10. So Jirachi fires off Psychic, so we do know that it's a special attacking set, and Akabari eats it up. Wouldn't have even killed, which makes me want to say that Dragonite is plus speed, because that is really weak, and I hate plus speed mixed Knight. I think it's a waste. So Ciele gets another Psychic off, meaningless special defense drop, as if Fire Blast hits, both are going down, so got kinda lucky with the first drop, with Dragonite having to hit 2 straight Fire Blasts, because it could have extreme speed and it had to hit the first 2. But double down to start off the game. So, you can tell how good a player is generally by seeing how he handles double downs, when only seeing one Pokemon revealed. And Shaman is a great pick on Ciele's end, because the most common pokes on double downs are, Swampert, exactly, to get up the rocks, because it's so good against so much of the metagame. It would also punish a spin attempt by Starmie, which is everywhere. So Swampert's not staying in, he's getting out of there to Roserade. So, this is some T-Spikes offense. There's going to be a Subbing Ghost, most likely, a Scarf Tran, and then a T-Spikes abuser like, say, Raikou, or Cosine's own Jirachi. So Shaman's looking to hit a Heatran or Infernape on the switch, going for Earth Power, and Special D drop in the raid. And it is Life Orb, which is a set you don't see really that much. It's very common to see Leech Protect, which is a great set, but Life Orb is menacing in its own right, especially before Sand goes up. Because as you can see, there's a big difference between taking 9% every turn and taking 15% every turn. Or 16, sorry. HP Fire Ice as Rotom comes in. So now Ciele's getting out of there, going to T-Tar to get rid of Rotom, rather than just Seed Flaring and not risking any Trick Scarf business. Not that Scarf Shaman is bad, but this is also an amazing move because Cosine ends up going to Heatran. And rather than risking any Celebi pivot, or Shaman pivot games, sorry, with Seed Flare and getting stalled around and then losing momentum, he keeps it up. He gets T-Tar on Tran, and if Rotom stayed in, no more damage on Shaman, like with the Scarf Shadow Ball, let's say. So that was a great move. And Ciele is going to press that advantage by crunching the Swampert, and that is fucking banded. So I really like seeing when people they get themselves into a good spot and they take advantage of it. If he had just Stone Edged the Swampert, it would have been for nothing. And the first of all, switching into rocks and then switching right out put Swampert in the range for Crunch to be a 2 KO. So that was very, very nicely done. And Ciele leads 5-4 with, he just killed Cosine's Rocker, and that's always really, really good, even if you don't have Stealth Rock weeks. So, Rose is back in. I am expecting it to be Sleep Powder T-Spikes. Those kinds of teams, it can feasibly be double spikes, but Sleep Powder T-Spikes is much more common, with a lot of speed, and it misses the Shaman, as Ciele goes in there to absorb it and pivot out. So that's kind of lucky, but we'll see how it plays out. Earth Power, because weakening Roserade is all he really needs to do, and he would much rather not let Heatran in for free, even though, I mean, he's got the full health CB Tar, but, why? Just not, although, without Pert, these teams that are all special attacking, that they do have trouble with a healthy Pert, so I think he could have got away with it. But it's not really a big deal. It does let Cosine get T-Spikes down, though, rather than going for Sleep. I think he should have tried to go for that. Obviously, it wasn't a great position with the Sleep Powder miss, but he could have still tried to get one off. So, T-Spikes are down, and that will annoy Tyranitar switching into Heatran. Although, I mean, he can still do it twice, unless he gets Earth-Powered the first time. or either time. In which case, but then he's locked into Earth power, and we haven't seen a ground resist or a ground immune yet. And there's almost surely going to be one. Is Shaman as this whole ground resist is a bad idea, for obvious reasons. You know, Flygon uses U-turn, and you are in some shit. So there we see one as Ciele decides to let Shaman go. It's done enough already. And it is likely not that necessary. Although it would have been nice for the Suicune, it couldn't switch in at such relatively low health because Ice Beam knocks it on its ass. Although it would have prevented a free Calm Mind because Life Orb Seed Flare destroys it even after a Calm Mind, and then something faster picks it off. So I think Ciele could have gone for Dragon Dance there because the Rotom with the Avi Scarf Chain, it was clearly not a Scarf Rotom. And it was sitting at what? It took a hit earlier. It's at 53 before Rock, so it was dead. So we see Satyr off in the Coon, a great T-Spike Absorber that's common on these teams. And when I was watching the battle live, I somehow didn't consider. I thought it was going to be Raikou, because I have a team that is those guys, but with Raikou as the last. But yeah, it's Coon is great. I also have expected Jirachi. Coon just slipped my mind. But yeah, so we see Dragon Dance, HP Electric doesn't do enough. Denying Rock's really big there, as you can see. And we see a natural gift, Grass or Electric. Either is good, because offensive Gara is amazing, but its problem is that it can sometimes be annoyed by Starmie. Even with Blackenberry, because Starmie can get a spin-off, God forbid, T-Wave, and without Taunt and Bulk, then Swampert even fucks with it, especially if it doesn't have leftovers. So Natural Gift Grass just hammers both those guys. And Electric, other Garas without using terrible Stone Edge. I think Grass is clearly superior. Electric also hits Empoleon without needing to use Earthquake, which I guess is alright. Anyway, so Ciele goes out to Bronzong after sacrificing Gara to get a chunk on Coon, which is worth it because that was the only thing safely stopping a Bronzong with a free turn to get Trick Room. I think Cosine should have tried to freeze it because that was clearly a much better bet since even Hydro Crit doesn't save him, but it's kind of semantics. As Gyro Ball is just the best move here. Cosine needs to somehow stall out the Bronzong for a couple turns and then still deal with Ciele's full health ban Tyranitar and Unrevealed last, so I think Earthquaking the Trans-Switch was a bad move here. I said this in the live recording, which died, because you just can't switch around. You can't afford to. So just Gyro Ball, Tunnel Vision this shit, full speed ahead and all that. So Gyro Ball fucking creams Rotom. Macho Brace Bronzong is ridiculously strong. And Heatran's gonna go down. So 1-0 Ciele lead. The last on Ciele's end, I thought it was Scarf Infernape because Ciele has an affinity for that Pokemon, but it was actually a Scarf Heatran. And I didn't expect that only for the fact that 3 Steels are kind of uncommon. Well, they're more common than they were some time ago, like a couple months, let's say, but it's still quite rare, so regardless, very nice team. I like Cosine's team, even though it was just a fakes one, but Ciele's was very, very well done. And it was great to see Shaman in action, not just because it's really, really anti-metagame and very powerful, hard to deal with and all that, but also because Shaman is Ciele's favorite Pokemon and one that he is known for liking. So, I like these things. So, let's move on to game 2. So, this ORAS game is extremely long, and much of it is extremely self-explanatory. But for completeness' sake, I will record it. However, I do not think my input is very valuable on it. So I will just give you some nice music to listen to while you watch it. Enjoy. here we go. We've got the classic black and white weather clash of rain versus sand. Cosine's running a pretty well-known rain offense team, while Ciele is going classic Ciele style with sand offense, Volt turn dudes, and strong Pokemon in general. So, neither side has a significant advantage over the other. They will have to use their wits and Pokemon and accuracy of moves to defeat the other. Let us begin. Ciele's starting out with Latios because when all you can do to switch into Latios Draco is Ferrothorn, I mean, not that you get much better, but when you can't punish it for it, then you are probably going to have problems with Latios, because if you don't run Pursuit or have an incredibly offensive team that just pulverizes it at every turn and have something that can really turn it into momentum, which is very rare, it's pretty much just certain variants of Jirachi, then Latios is just going to come in and out and run train. Of course, it can occasionally miss a Draco like it does there, so not a great start. And now Cosine has free turns to set up spikes, throw out Leech Seeds, generally be a prick like Ferrothorn is, and Ciele chooses to go to Rotom, because nothing can take Will-O-Wisp here. Volk does not want to deal with rain-boosted Hydro Pumps, so he decides, you know what, I can't avoid it. 4 of Ciele's Pokemon are grounded, so spikes will do a lot of damage. Then again, if you see Cosine's pokes, they do so much damage, I don't really think they need spikes to back them up. I think I would have gone for Leech Seed there, just to damage on the Rotom. I mean, 1 spike layer, fine, good. You're already messing Chomp and Scizor up. But you know, damage on the Rotom is kind of big too, considering it is a rain team. So Ciele gets off scot-free with the Will-O-Wisp on... Gets off made it sound like Cosine let him get away with something, which is not what I meant to imply. But now that he knows the 3rd layer Spikes is coming, he gets his free Volt into Terrakion, so while Pharaoh did dodge Draco, he still took a nice chunk out of it with the Burn and Volt Switch, and now Terrakion is ready to smash shit up. An offensive team often does not have the luxury of switching into Terrakion even semi-safely, unless you count Starmie/Latios semi-safely. So not every team has the luxury of packing Landorus Therian, unfortunately, because it is amazing. But he does absorb the close combat with Starmie. So some could consider that, you know, alright, he got away with it, so that's fine. And then Ciele whips out a Life Orb Quick Attack. Well, he had the Life Orb already, but he whips out Quick Attack and puts it into range for where, after a Life Orb hit, it will die to the next one. And it is also in Stealth Rock range. And it is at this point that everyone's kind of going, what was that? I mean, I guess he wasn't really checking Volk with all those spikes down and with Rain to compete with. And then Tyranitar comes in, and everyone realized Ciele planned this to make sure that Cosine could not remove Stealth Rock. And that will cripple Gyarados and Volcarona. Not that Life Orb Starmie is the most durable spinner ever, but like it'll generally get one off in most cases. And Ciele just lured it in and destroyed it, because there was nothing else Cosine could at all switch in. So that was really, really, really impressive on Ciele's end. So Chomp comes in. He still wants the sand to actually dig into Rotom so it isn't unkillable. And he does not let Ciele throw out a surprise Ice Beam or anything of the sort by not trying to use Tyranitar to set up rocks. So it's almost certain that this Garchomp is not Scarfed. But there have been stranger things than Stealth Rock Choice Scarf Garchomp, so Ciele's not taking any chances with Latios. And the spikes digging around mean that he can't exactly check by going to Scizor after, because he won't really have gained anything, even if he is correct. And or if Cosine switched out from Latios to Ferrothorn, the counter, or not even the counter at this point, but you know, the sponge. And because Garchomp would still be around, and Scizor would have accomplished nothing but weakening itself. And Scizor can be useful despite all those Pokemon that stack the odds against it. You know, Garchomp, because U-turn and priority Bullet Punch is really important. So I think Rotom was definitely the better move there. He did have to hit 2 Hydros, but and it was a roll, but he knew that there was no Outrage, because the only Garchomp that runs Dragon Claw and Outrage is Band or Scarf. So Rotom survives, no rocks for Ciele, and since Ice Beam does not kill, and he couldn't use anything else to safely revenge the Rotom, because, you know, Pharaoh lets it Pain Split, and Gara is Stealth Rock weak, and he wants it healthy, because that's his best shot at a sweep, it looks like. And it's not a very good one either, but it's the best he has. So he has to go to Toad, and he can't Ice Beam because Ice Beam would not have killed Rotom. So Ciele takes advantage, switches to Latios, takes nothing, and Joey Pokegames it all over the place with a Draco Meteor. So Pharaoh's in. I mean, it's on its last legs, but it's still breathing, and it is going to get a Leech Seed off. Luckily, Ciele has... Oh, he goes to Scizor. I thought he was sacking Rotom. It's been a while since I've watched the game. Sorry about that. Scizor is fine. Possibly, yeah, definitely better than Rotom, because while I said he didn't want it to possibly be taking 1,000,000 spikes damage for nothing, switching into Pharaoh at this point is not for nothing, because he can either get rid of the Pharaoh and turn Draco into an actual kill button, or he can rack up rocks damage on Volk. See, there goes Volk. If he U-turned, then it's out of the picture. And Gara would have been messed up too. I mean, Toad pretty much dies. So Scizor was a good move there. Nothing that cosine really could have done about it. Ciele is looking really, really good at this point. Of course, it's not over, but he does have the advantage. As Latios comes in, ready to fire off attacks that now will get a kill every time. And we see leftovers on Volk, so who knows what set it was, but it might have been something cool, like, I don't know, sub QD. You never see that. I mean, it could potentially be a real dick, but and for good reason. I mean, Volk has enough trouble with 3-move coverage, let alone 2. So QD Roost is also possible. Anyway, so Toad comes in here, and Ice Beam will not kill, while Psyshock will. So Ciele, I think, might even be able to win just by spamming Psyshock. Now, Ferrothorn is at what? 20 or 30 something, 32 before rocks. It might just die, but I don't think it will. But if it does, then, you know, Gara is not going to be able to handle that, and the probable Scarf Garchomp and the Scizor Assault afterwards. Of course, this might look a little more obvious here, but in the moment it's super intense, so it could still go either way, since Rotom is outrun and killed by Gara. Scizor is, you know, obviously bait for a DD, although a U-turn would likely put it in Scarf Chomp range. And I was expecting Ciele to go to Scizor to get the U-turn and, like, guaranteed kill and no nonsense against Gyarados, but Psyshock's thinking, alright, well, even if Ferrothorn does survive and take it out like it does, then Rotom here means that he does not intimidate Garchomp. And he doesn't even end up having Intimidate, it's Moxie. Intimidate is generally more useful. Moxie is kind of overkill. Unless it's Scarf Gara or something, which is obviously not going to be on this team. But even if it were Scarf Gara, then the Garchomp Scizor combo is going to be enough for it, unless stupid amounts of bulk. And since it outran Rotom, and you would assume it does pack attack EVs, I don't think it can do enough to take what's-its-face out. To take the Outrage from Garchomp and the Scizor. As a matter of fact, it can't even take the Outrage plus Rough Skin, which I didn't even mention until now, and Ciele is the winner of Smogon Tour 21. So that was a very, very, very impressive display. From both players. Cosine played like a beast as well in ORAS, and he did very well to get here, obviously. And Ciele, I think, was just... I have to reiterate how impressive it was, especially in nowadays on Smogon. Most people you will see in tours have like 50 people giving them teams and helping them out in every way imaginable, you know, scouting reports, all that shit. And Ciele just operated entirely solo. I cannot remember the last time that, like, happen. And the last time it did happen, then it was the norm. So it was a long time ago. So very impressive. Not afraid to use unorthodox stuff either, as we saw from Natural Gift Gara in DPP. That was super nice. Like, Natural Gift is everyone's go-to wannabe innovation, because oh, it's like hidden power except physical, but no one ever actually pulls it off, or it's very rarely pulled off. Just to bring it like that and have it actually work was just gorgeous. So congrats once again to Ciele. He very deserving, and 2 trophies now, individuals, with the first Grand Slam. So I thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you next time.